The release of Jungkook's debut album Golden has started a lot of conversations, and we mean like a ton of them. The album received divided reviews, but that wasn't the issue here. People were more preoccupied with how Western and generic the album sounded. To some fans, the sound of the album wasn't all that surprising, considering that Jungkook is a known pop lover. But even then, a big chunk of the listeners expressed disappointment at the album, especially when it was found out that he didn't contribute in the making of it, as they argued that this made the music lack individuality. They expressed that Jungkook could do a lot better than Golden, and it seemed like music critic Han Sung-yoon thinks the same way. Han Sung-yoon recently gave his take on Golden on IZM's official website, and according to his judgment, the album only deserved 2 stars out of 5. Han Sung-yoon didn't like that Jungkook opted for a more mainstream pop sound, as he felt like it deviated from the distinctive vibes of K-pop. The critic expressed disappointment, saying that the album seemed like a blend of various pop influences without establishing its own identity. The critic also took a swipe at Hybe, criticizing their efforts to cater to the American music market and suggesting they were destroying the essence of K and K-pop. He wrote, "Golden is a stark reminder of Hybe Entertainment's desire to take the K out of K-pop. Just like how Le Sserafim has a touch of Rosalia and New Jeans has a touch of Pink Pantheress." He said that Golden seems like it's just copying a regular pop album instead of adding something genuine to K-pop. The critic also mentioned that Jungkook didn't contribute much in making his solo album, highlighting that his main accomplishment was singing flawlessly in English. In the end, he took a jab at both Jungkook and Hybe, writing, "It's degrading to use music as a means and not as an end. The album symbolizes the golden age of the 2020s, where selling a lot is good enough." The criticism about Hybe's westernization of K-pop music isn't exactly new. Only recently, an interview where Bang Shahyuk expresses that they should remove the K from K-pop so they can reach a broader audience came to light and made not only Korean music critics, but also fans and netizens angry. His statements got a lot of flack, and Han Sung-yoon's review only made people double down on the public's disapproval of Hybe. The English songs, the collaborations with Western artists, the shift in music styles, and the focus on promotions overseas rather than domestic ones have K-pop fans arguing that Hybe is watering down the distinct cultural and linguistic elements that make K-pop what it is. There were even accusations that Le Sserafim had plagiarized Rosalia's singing style and song's rhythms with their comeback, with people saying that the company was trying to copy what was trending. Whether you see the similarities between songs is up to you, but the point is, the discussions about Hybe focusing on the charts rather than the artistry have been going on for a while now. In an interview with Korea Jungang Daily, Jung Min-jae, part of the yearly Korean Music Awards selection team and the ex-chief editor of music critique web magazine IZM, delved into this exact issue. He said that a big number of sales doesn't exactly indicate that the artist has the interest of the general public. Instead, it simply means that they have a fandom that's willing to buy a lot of albums. He also brought up photo cards as a sale tactic that companies use to boost up sales, which is still an inorganic way to accurately measure an artist's success. And we know that including hundreds of photo cards in numerous versions of the same album is something that Hybe is guilty of on all accounts. Remember when 17 got criticized for having nearly 900 photo cards for a single comeback? The critic mentioned streams as well, taking BTS as an example. He cited songs like On, Boy with Love, and DNA as examples, saying that the only reason these songs were on the charts were because of fandom power, not because of organic streams. For some groups under Hybe who have found massive success, there's even doubt that these numbers are real or whether the company has been pulling out some dirty tricks to make their group seem a lot bigger or more popular than they are. It's not only fans of other groups who question their achievements, but the insiders from the industry as well. But we should also share the other viewpoint to these arguments. It wouldn't be interesting or fair if we only heard one side of things now, would it? Many fans have been making a case that the quote-unquote westernization of K-pop isn't a recent phenomenon, considering that K-pop as a genre has been influenced by the West, especially black artists, ever since the beginning. A lot of K-pop songs dating back to the first generation sample songs from American artists, sometimes even using rejected songs from artists to make their own music. Yes, they added their unique touch and made them distinct, but you can't ignore the clear influence. We can admit that what sets K-pop apart from the Western music industry is the album rollout, promotions, choreography, and the bold concepts, not the music style specifically. You can't even say that K-pop artists and companies attempted to break into the West only recently and because of Hybe's influence. Wonder Girls, Girls' Generation, Rain, and Boa all attempted to appeal to the Western music market long before Hybe even existed. They did collaborations with American artists to take a shot at charting overseas, released English versions of their songs, and promoted outside of Korea. These are the same points that K-pop stans now use to prove that a Korean act has become too westernized or even strip Korean artists of their own identity just because they sang a song or two in English. There were accusations of groups becoming too westernized back in 2009 and 2016 as well, which doesn't get brought up often, but we can't deny that it happened. Certainly, Korean entertainment companies are putting in more effort to enter the Western music market, especially after the success of BTS. However, it appears that K-pop is now keeping pace with Western pop trends much faster than before, creating the perception that the industry is becoming more westernized. The Weeknd and Doja Cat releasing retro-sounding songs and albums started an entire retro era in K-pop, sometimes influenced by a few certain songs. Taeyeon's Weeknd and 50/50's Tell Me Both sound very similar to Doja Cat's mega hit Say So. Dua Lipa's retro album Future Nostalgia also seemingly influenced a few songs like Chungha's Stay Tonight, Purple Kiss's Zombie and Pretty Psycho, and Twice's Fall in Love Again. Of course, we're not accusing anyone of copying anything. We're just discussing how the Western influences are more present in the industry than we might notice. In fact, sometimes the only difference between some K-pop and Western songs nowadays is the language they're being sung in. When K-pop tried to break into the Japanese and Chinese markets, they tried to appeal to their audiences. Now that the market is global, K-pop acts can try to connect with whichever audience they think will make the most money or give them the most recognition worldwide, which just happens to be the Western one. Gangnam Style and BTS have just made the companies see that it's possible to break into it, so they've started making more attempts, which again can't entirely be blamed on Hybe. It's just companies trying to make more money, just like one would expect them to. There's also the parts about BTS, especially Jungkook, that we need to address. BTS, for starters, has more than 200 songs, with only a few being in English. Not to mention that they released Korean albums and music in between their English songs, so it feels unfair to call them sellouts or westernized just because those songs managed to be successful. In fact, labeling music as westernized often seems like a way to downplay the achievements of groups. BTS in particular has been targeted with criticism of westernization, especially since transitioning to a more pop-oriented later in their careers. Didn't matter if they were involved in their music and trying new, more fun things. Some people went on to consider them as less Korean just because they were releasing a few songs in another language and were good at it. The same seems to be happening with Jungkook, who's getting looked down on just because he wants to be a pop star and do pop music. In an interview, Jungkook expressed his desire to be a singer who can effortlessly navigate between K-pop and the global music scene, which is what he tried to do with his album. The Sound of Golden also wasn't that surprising, considering that Jungkook has expressed admiration for pop artists like Justin Bieber and Shawn Mendes before and seems to like listening to mainstream pop, so why are people acting like he committed a crime by releasing an album in English? It's even more frustrating that Han Sung-hyun even takes jabs at him for not participating in the making of the album. Overall, saying that artists must write their own lyrics to be authentic is strange. If that were true, much of K-pop wouldn't be seen as genuine art. Not that we're claiming that other K-pop acts should be criticized, but the opposite, because calling someone's art fake just because they didn't write the lyrics or didn't participate in the making of music is harmful to these artists. While it's cool that some idols write songs, when did that become so important? You don't need your favorite artist credited in the songs to enjoy them. Jungkook likes Golden and it matches his tastes, and while it's more than okay for people not to like it, calling him or other artists disingenuous for it seems like hate for the sake of hating, not actual criticism. What do you think of K-pop's recent direction, and how much do you think has Hybe influenced it? Share your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching.